Well, good.
That was totally planned.
We're doing great.
No, it is indeed the first Death Battle cast of our Skeletober Celebration. You're supposed to bring it up when I say that.
I forgot I had to hit it twice to like disable it and re-enable it.
No.
I was just sitting here going like this with a double fist and
We can
totally
just
wasn't
zoom.
awkward looking at all.
I'm ready now. Okay. Yeah, it's the Skelebration. If y'all don't know, our bones yearn for it. I made a shirt that's very silly that you can go buy that says our bones yearn for the Skelebration. Yeah, I don't know. That's what we're doing, and we're starting off with Nemesis Project Delta, which is spooky.
Subject Delta.
Subject.
Project Delta is a different thing.
Let me just change the stream.
It'd be a
title.
very different cast episode.
Did you title it?
Yes.
Everything's going wonderfully smooth today, guys. We
it's
got
one of
so
those
much to
days.
talk about on today's cast. No problems, no issues
no,
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's just fine. Hey, welcome to Death Battle Cast. If this is your first time joining us for our live podcast, welcome. Thank you. It's a big week. It's a big month because it is indeed Skeletober.
He did it when I walked away. It was so hard to come back.
That's right. October does not exist here in Death Battle. We don't recognize that month. It doesn't.
It's just
other than the fact that it's
Skeletober.
very fun. For us, it is just Skeletober.
Skeletober. Yeah.
Skeletober. That was
for
4
our
times.
Skeletober celebration.
5 times.
Sorry.
You have 4 more.
Okay, let me just hold the button and then I can just be really
Yeah. 2.
Okay, I have to get them quick.
3.
Okay, let's knock them out. Yeah. Okay, there you go. We're caught up on celebrations.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ava Chuber. We blew October up. We are month
it.
level, destruction level. So
Yeah.
It's a time. I mean, that's a timeline level feat. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're crazy powerful. We replaced a whole
Measurable
month
speed.
in existence. But yes, so the way this month works, if you're new to this, is we just basically theme it around Halloween style spooky matchups, right? And we are starting off with one of the pitches that you guys had from the Kickstarter rewards, which is Nemesis from Resident Evil versus Subject Delta from BioShock. Specifically, I believe this is the protagonist or the
BioShock
player
2.
character of BioShock 2. Yes.
Which
Aaron
I've heard is
will
the
be-
best one. I'm going to throw that out there. I've heard that's the best one.
Chat, let us know if you agree with that. Aaron will be repping
Yeah.
Delta.
This doesn't
Liam
need
will
to
be
turn
repping
into
Nemesis.
a video essay like YouTube video, but I could do it with this, so just hold back, Liam.
That's just what this cast is going to turn into.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it should be the best one, but it's not.
Well, Aaron and Liam will be arguing for their characters throughout this Death Battle cast, and at the end of the show, you all watching this live right now will be able to vote on who you think should win a death battle. Very excited to get into this. We also have a bunch of stuff coming up. It's a busy month. It's a busy end of the year. We are going to Clock Tower Con at the end of this month. If you are not familiar with that, it is a convention in Vegas. Starts October 24th. That is all about the Blood on the Clock Tower game. You may have seen some of the videos that we posted earlier this last month, of us playing the game. It's basically like super werewolves. It's kind of like one of those social deduction games where you're trying to figure out who's the killer, who's the villain, right? But in Blood on the Clock Tower, everybody has like crazy powers that affects the discussion. It gets bonkers. Highly recommend checking out one of those streams we did. You can find it in the live tab on our YouTube channel. So we will be at Clock Tower Con October 24th through that weekend. My understanding is the way the convention works is like you can just kind of like play the game with anybody, which will include us. So if you want to play the game with people like me and Chad and you know the rest of the crew who are going to be out there, come join us. It's going to be a fun time. On that note, yeah, Chad is unfortunately sick today, so he's not here. So we just have to, in his absence, make sure that we annoy Sam as much as we can and
Yes.
shout Skeletober Celebration.
I was ahead
every
of you
5
on
minutes.
that one. I had that one ready to go.
I kind of
Yes,
yeah.
the skeletons got to Chad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody got his bones. Anyway, we also have some updates for Champions Island coming up later on in the show, as well as a sneak peek for the upcoming Blade versus Buffy. Oh my fucking god, guys. I'm so excited for you guys to see this. Ismahawk has been working on this. Speaking of Vegas, they're out there and we shot it in Vegas earlier this year, and wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's been like 5 years since an Ismahawk death battle. So when we were talking to Danny and his crew, they were like, we gotta make this worth 5 years, right? So I think you guys are gonna like what they've done with Blade versus Buffy.
I saw some of the, I guess, final VFX on like some of the things the other day. It is, I mean, like I said, I was like, they're always impressive, but somehow still more impressive than I expected. Very good.
Yeah, we'll have so much to talk about for that episode, like after it comes out, and we might just have a whole Death Battle cast that's just behind the scenes because it's
that scene when Buffy grows 100 feet tall and starts shooting laser beams out of her eyes and goes, "I am really Buffy the Destroyer." I don't know how they did that.
Canon.
The budget's in shambles.
Yeah, and then of course, if you guys haven't seen, we did have a new ballot banter open up over the past week that has wrapped up. Galaxy members were able to submit new ideas for matchups and a new ballot, and we will be beginning the Galaxy Ballot Banter show tomorrow. So that will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central. And once again, we have so many matchups to get through. We got a lot of ballots to get through, so it's gonna be a long another ongoing ballot banter series. But I'm excited to get to that and start going through all your matchup ideas.
I think it'll be something
I haven't looked at it too much because I want to be like surprised by some of the matchups.
There's like almost 300, I think, which means like 12 episodes maybe around there. So I think it's the perfect length.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I just know that I looked at like the bar of like how many there were, how far I'd have to slide down. I was like, oh my gosh, there are a lot.
Yeah, it's like a third of the last one, so it's very much more. That's very manageable.
All right, let's get to this matchup. Nemesis versus Subject Delta. Liam, you're repping Nemesis. Tell us a little bit about our big zombie boy.
Get a big old witch's cauldron, toss in it some, Eye of Newt, some salamander butt, but also the main ingredients you're going to want are a zombie, the Terminator, and Doomsday. Mix it together, and that's basically Nemesis. He is a tyrant that's been infected with the Nemesis Alpha parasite, which, in a wonderful retcon, was developed from Las Plagas in Resident Evil 4. And essentially it turns like Mr. X into a being of human level intelligence and unbelievable regenerative abilities, and it is basically unstoppable, and is certainly unstoppable compared to anything in Subject Delta's arsenal. Nemesis is just way too much of a powerhouse for Delta to take down and kill. No, Nemesis shall be doing the killing today.
Okay.
He's big and scary. He's in Resident Evil 3. I should probably have started with that. He's the big bad guy of that.
He chases you all about town.
He goes, stars.
Yeah, he's the one who's always right behind you and freaks you out when he shows up.
But you did mention the RE viruses, where it's like to talk. 10 Tails, of course, is putting $100 down to say, I swear, if you manage to make this matchup into reality bending powers, which we had no idea about, I'm going to lose it. Never underestimate Resident Evil bullshit, is what I want to say.
Have you ever heard of Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Nemesis can beat up the entire Marvel cast.
I will get up out of this chair.
No. I don't think we can do it this time. I don't think it's gonna
well, we'll see. Maybe Aaron's got something up her sleeve for Nemesis. Though before we get to that, I do want to point out Tony Sonic's super chat. This is my favorite matchup for Nemesis. I love both characters and actually really close fight on both sides. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, all right, so and there's a couple other super chats that'll get to, but first, about who the heck is Subject Delta, Aaron?
All right. Well, sticking with the spooky theme, you're going to need to get a mad scientist table and a bunch of surgical instruments. And you're going to need to get a diving suit and a poor, unfortunate used to be a man that then becomes a horrendous monster with gene splicing involving sea slugs. We'll get to it. And then you give him a giant drill and a little kid to protect. And that is how you get a big daddy in the BioShock games. Subject Delta is the specialist boy out of all of them and is the protagonist, or depending on your perspective, antagonist of BioShock 2.
I do want to get out the gate here and ask why Subject Delta look like gritty reboot of Mega Man.
What's funny is that there's actually kind of an answer for that. So Subject Delta is called Delta because he is the fourth one originally created. So he is an OG Big Daddy. And he is the first to have actually been successfully bonded to a little sister, which makes them what they are today. When you go later on in time, when they kind of even out how they look and don't look uniquely weird, is because they essentially refined the process to make it more of an assembly line and less of a we're gonna pluck a guy out of our totally legal jail system and just completely fuck him up behind any recognition at all.
You guys know who would make a great dad? These dudes in jail. Like,
Yeah.
all right, Rapture government.
Well, the whole
Questionable.
idea is that there's the Big Daddy and then there's the sisters, right? The
Little
sisters.
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
their
the little
pair-
sisters
their
are like
pair.
Yes. So the little sisters are where the sea slugs get involved in BioShock lore. They have a literal sea slug implanted in their stomachs that they become little mini processing engines for the genetically altering material that runs BioShock. So Adam. And the Big Daddies were created to protect them because Adam being a very addictive substance, all the citizens in Rapture end up wanting to get in on that sauce, which they would in fact kill the little sisters for. So they had to build the Big Daddies to be their oversized, supercharged protectors, so that the little sisters could actually do their jobs without getting killed.
Okay. And also real quick, super chat from Dude Blade X, who has done the math for you, Sam. There are 304 entries in Galaxy Banter. Assuming you spend an average of 3 minutes per submission, with 1 hour banter streams each, it would take about 15 weeks to get through all the submissions. Please no
That's less than
reality
4.
warping.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there'll be
Everybody wants
duplicates
us
in
to
there.
not.
Yeah.
Everybody wants us to not get into reality war because we've had so many of these matchups, Death Metal Cast recently, where we're like, oh yeah, these are like what planet busting characters.
Girls with
Surely it's not
guns.
gonna destroy all
Yeah.
of reality and time and whatnot. Oh, surprise!
What if we
Um,
reality warp so that it doesn't take 15 weeks to get through Galaxy Banter? Is that allowed?
Ooh.
Sorry,
okay.
the chat has resistance to reality manipulation.
Okay.
Ah.
Wait,
Unfortunately.
does that mean that they can bring back October instead of Skeletober Celebration? There we go.
I was ready again.
Only chat can approve October coming back.
No, because our bones do not yearn for October. They yearn for this celebration.
And you could put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Ender Lollipop Guy with the super chat. If Nemesis is stalking Delta, then Nemi would probably win. If Nemesis is chasing his little sister, on the other hand, Delta would probably win. That's interesting. Okay, so let's like get into the meat of the matchup. Then is the idea that they're just two big like hulking
Yes.
brutes that are just going to
Genetically
rush at each other?
modified monsters.
Yeah.
They're just going to punch each other until one is a pulp.
Yeah. Well, punch and shoot and drill.
Punch and shoot and
tentacle.
drill and use magic and all of that good stuff.
Rocket launchers. Nemesis famously.
Rocket launcher.
Rocket launcher.
Subject Delta also has a rocket launcher.
This is a good fight.
So
Rocket launcher versus
Okay.
rocket launcher. I like it.
The rocket's like hitting like
Yeah.
bullet time.
they
A
kiss
beam
midair,
struggle between
Yeah.
rockets. Doesn't make any sense. They're just shooting harder.
I'm down to get into like Nemesis powers and stuff. I actually covered Nemesis on Death Battle Cast before, so this was easy for me.
And this is old hat for you. Okay, I see why you
Right,
wanted
yeah.
to cover Nemesis then. You didn't have to do any work.
Well, let's get to it.
You picked Subject. You were like, Subject Delta is my favorite character ever. Is the best character in the universe. And I went,
Yes, that's a direct
"Fine."
sound clip.
It's an exact quote. Okay. So yeah, like I said, so the tyrants. Do we know what the tyrants are in Resident Evil? They're like big, genetically modified zombie monster men. And they had been like given more and more intelligence. So in Resident Evil 2, you're being chased by Mr. X, who is a tyrant. But the problem is that those guys, the Umbrella Corporation's whole deal is that they wanted to sell BOWs, bioorganic, whatever weapons. They wanted to sell these creations to the military and use them in the battlefield. But Mr. X and the tyrants, the base tyrants, were not smart enough. Like they're killing machines, but they're not really that smart. So they genetically modified Las Plagas or based a parasite off of Las Plagas that would take over a tyrant's brain, replace its brainstem, and make it intelligent enough to use like advanced weaponry. And that's what Nemesis is. So Nemesis can be given like, I mean, they can both be given commands, but Nemesis can actually use weapons and can use strategies against his opponents. He's not a genius by any means, but he is like a human level intelligence. The big advantage that he has that is an incredible regenerative ability. So he has been subjected to just about every kind of fucking violence imaginable. He is totally immune to gunfire. Gunfire does not hurt him at all. And in fact, he has this limiter coat on him that like limits his full power, but also is bulletproof. His skin is bulletproof as well. They just don't do anything. You can fire into him. It's not going to matter. The only time he is slightly hurt is by rockets and explosives. And I say slightly hurt because, especially in Resident Evil 3, the way to stop him is to like stockpile like grenades or rockets, hit him a couple of times with those, and then he'll sort of take a knee, and then that allows you to run around like he's stunned for a bit.
He eats some orange slices and just gets back up.
Yeah. In cutscenes, he'll be stunned he isn't stunned as long as he is in game. In game, it's a gameplay thing, but in the game, in the cutscenes, he'll be stunned for like a few moments. But he isn't hurt. He isn't damaged at all. So you mentioned Subject Delta's rocket launcher. It's not going to do anything lasting to him. At most, it'll slow him down. He's also been electrocuted. He's been bathed in molten metal. He was rammed by a car off a multi-story building. He was blown up by C4 in a crashing subway train. He was caught in several gas explosions. He was blown up by a claymore, which then blew up a fuel truck. And he has kept fighting, even being doused in industrial acid. And he is able to regenerate from all of that. If he is hurt by something that is powerful enough that like really like rips apart a ton of his body, he doesn't just regenerate, he mutates, and he'll mutate in response to whatever killed him. That's why I mentioned Doomsday. Obviously, he's not going to be like going to develop a resistance to like entropy or black holes or whatever, but he is going to resist like rocket launchers now, and he's going to get stronger. He can also absorb organic matter to mutate, so he can like grab a dude and eat them essentially, and like grow into them. And he's able to like regrow these wounds like instantly. Like he get his arm cut off, and then within a second he had regrown it.
Can he lose his head though? Because like theoretically, you said like it's like the tyrants are all about like they do modify the brainstem and stuff, so the zombies aren't idiots. Like if he receives like significant damage to his brain, is that?
The parasite itself can regenerate, so it would just reattach to a different part of the body. But by the end of the game, he's a big flesh mass. He doesn't have like a head or anything. Yeah. And he has like humongous holes blown in him, and he's still able to survive.
Yeah.
The only way that Jill is able to kill him is with this massive fucking like experimental sci-fi railgun, which literally after shooting him 3 times reduces him to a puddle. And once he's like a puddle of blood, he's done. He can't regenerate from that because there's nothing to regenerate from.
Okay. We'll say super chat from Third Degree. There are 3 canon versions of Nemesis: the original game, the remake, and the live action version. Are you taking from only one, or just kind of looking at all 3?
We're doing standard composite stuff, so we'll use all of them.
All 3 are basically meant to be the same character, essentially,
yes,
right? There isn't any like big difference between them. Like one was
no
actually a alien or whatever.
No, they're all the same.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we can look at other sources too. Like there's a manhwa, that's fine to use. There's other games. That stuff is fine. That falls within our composite.
So long as it falls
it's
within.
it's a tyrant that's been infected with the Nemesis parasite, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Using the standard death battle, like so long as it doesn't contradict the original source, it's good to analyze. Gives more options for how we analyze characters, right? And get a more clear picture. Cool. So I want to get to subject delta as well. But before we do that, I would like to talk a little bit about the first sponsor of today's episode, which is Monarch Money. And hang on. I know if you heard the word money and that made you groan, this might be exactly what you need. Can you name all your financial accounts that you have and how much they're worth? No, not just your bank account. I'm talking about like 401k, properties, investments, whatever's in the folds of your couch. Most people can't. That's okay. But that's why Monarch Money is here. Monarch Money is an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or your phone. It's built for people with busy lives. And if you've been putting off organizing your finances, like I always do, then Monarch is going to save your butt. You can link all of your accounts in minutes and then get clear data visuals, smart categorization to your spending, and real control over your money. You'll never have to touch a spreadsheet ever again. Thank God. And I know a sponsor about money can sound kind of scary, but here's the thing. Multiple members of our Death Battle team have been using Monarch Money since way before they came in as a sponsor. Like, this is legit. This is actually really awesome that they wanted to sponsor us. This works out great because we know they work. So if you need more proof that Monarch Money is what you're looking for, they've been recommended by a bunch of big places. Forbes says it's the best app for couples. CNBC has a ton of positive articles about them. And the Wall Street Journal named Monarch Money the best budgeting app of 2025. So yeah, that's kind of a big deal. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code DBC at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DBC. It's actually a really good deal. Definitely check that out if it's something that'll help you. I think that's a really good deal. Thank you, Monarch Money, for sponsoring the show. Appreciate it.
I signed up for it when they sent us this, like, they were like, and I was like, oh, I'll try it out. And I found a credit card in my name I didn't know about. So it can also save you in other ways, too.
That's huge, actually. Yeah. Okay. It's also kind of scary.
Hey, but they helped me out.
Yeah. Thanks, Monarch Money. Oh, my gosh. All right. So let's talk about the Delta.
Delta, yeah. So as far as I do actually think this is a pretty good matchup for Nemesis, partially because Subject Delta is also kind of on that same like humanoid intelligence level. He's arguably the most lucid of all the big daddies. A lot of them are just kind of on autopilot. They'll just kind of walk around and only attack or retaliate if you attack them or their little sister. But he is actually able, like, to think for himself and, you know, is the protagonist of the game. So you go through and you make your own choices within it. But I think the kind of outside of his weapon arsenal, so, you know, he has the big classic drill, and he also has a launcher. It's not just for rockets. It also will do like grenades and RPGs and all that good stuff, including heat seeking. He has a spear gun, which you can upgrade in the game to include shooting out like an electrical wire, which I think could be helpful in a fight like this, at least just kind of slow down Nemesis. But I think where he kind of ends up getting his edge in this fight is with the plasmids and tonics that you get within BioShock, which are your power-ups. They give you your magical abilities, right? So he gets a whole bunch, including one that I am curious about for Nemesis. He has one of his plasmids is Winter Blast, which is that he can freeze things to the point of they will shatter upon like just being touched by something, like if you run into them. I at least don't know off the top of my head if anywhere in Resident Evil with Nemesis that he deals with being like in a cold environment or being frozen.
No, that's not. Being frozen is not part of Jill's arsenal in that game, or like freezing based weapons. However, like Nemesis has been blasted to pieces before. He has been reduced to chunks and can still regenerate from that. So I think that freezing him would only slow him down. It wouldn't prevent. It wouldn't kill him.
Yeah. How is he with resisting mind control?
I was hoping you'd talk about hypnotize. Elaborate.
Yeah, so there's also a plasmid called Hypnotize, which allows Subject Delta to take over the mind of an enemy and compel them to instead attack their fellow man instead of attacking Subject Delta.
Yes. However, that's Hypnotize 1. I looked up the wiki page and looked at all 3 versions. Hypnotize 1 does cause you to attack a fellow enemy or other enemies. However, this is a one-on-one fight. And Nemesis, when you use it on somebody, when there's no other enemies around, they just attack Subject Delta. Hypnotize 2 allows you to use Befriend, which would make Nemesis an ally to Subject Delta until Subject Delta shoots Nemesis, and then he is rendered an enemy again. So in BioShock 2, if you have to like aim away from befriended enemies or you'll aggro them. So I think it would at best allow Subject Delta to get a single hit on Nemesis, but not
how often
not
can Delta use this? Is it possible that Delta could just keep spamming it and be like, "You're my friend now, blam! You're my friend again, blam! You're my friend again, blam!"
To a certain extent, with it being BioShock being a game in which you are constantly upgrading your character with the resources that you have, plasmids are based off of just how much your Eve bar is at, which you can upgrade. You can get hypos to refill it. So if we're talking about like a fully upgraded Subject Delta, it is possible for at least a little while that he could do a "you're my friend, I shoot you, you're my friend, I shoot you."
I do think it's
This
possible.
also sounds like a great way. This also sounds like a great way for Nemesis to just like pause the fight if it needs to. Like if or for Delta, if Nemesis is about to do something that's like potentially gonna really mess up Delta, like Subject Delta just befriends them real quick and is like, "Hang on, let me back up, repair myself or whatever," and then get back into
2 downsides though. Sorry, my phone just rang. 2 downsides though.
Phone is not silent for
Hypnosis 2
points off.
Doesn't work on big daddies, larger enemies. So Hypnosis 3 is the one that does it, and that requires a lot of charging to use. Furthermore, Nemesis has his own version of mind control, and it doesn't run out. Nemesis has these large tentacles that can reach out. He can use them to like grapple and impale and do lots of stuff. What they can also do is infect somebody with the T virus. So he does it to Jill and impales her in the shoulder, hits her with the T virus, and then she's in a coma for 2 days. She's just instantly done. He can also infect you with the Nemesis parasite, the same parasite that has infected him. And that actually fully controls your mind and makes you makes you fall under his command. And it doesn't run out, nor is it interrupted by anything like being hit or anything like that. You would need to like kill the subject in order to prevent them from being mind controlled. So I actually think Nemesis has a better version of mind control than Hypnotize.
I would say though it's pretty hard to say whether or not the Delta would be able to get corrupted by Nemesis parasite, just like based on it's a blood-borne parasite, and Delta has their blood like messed with by a sea slug, so we don't know what that interaction is like, right?
Like it's like a
Yeah,
there's a question if Subject Delta's mutations that already exist would counter that in some way. I would also say in order to give him a bloodborne virus to infect him with that parasite, you would actually need to physically get at Subject Delta's body, which is inside and grafted to a diving suit that does survive multiple times within the game, just being at the bottom of the ocean.
I do
think let me address this. I think this is an important, I don't want to move on. I disagree that Subject Delta would be able to resist it. We know, in fact, Subject Delta would be uniquely vulnerable to genetic modification because that's what plasmids do, right? every time he drinks a plasmid, it modifies his DNA to be able to use superpowers, right? So something like the T virus or the Nemesis parasite would have no problem in modifying his DNA, because that's what BioShock is literally all about. Furthermore, stuff like his suit, yeah, I mean, you'd have to destroy the suit, but the tentacle that shoots out can rip through that pretty easily. He has a flamethrower which can burn the suit. Just being at the bottom of the ocean doesn't make it, super durable like regular diving suits do that as well. It's not really how pressure works.
I do think this is an interesting one, because if it does take place in Rapture, like, I can't remember if Delta ever does it, but the Big Daddies do at times, like, collapse areas of it, because I'm in a diving suit. Like, it's, being at the bottom of the ocean won't kill me, but it will kill you, kind of thing. And I do think that Nemesis on the bottom of the ocean probably isn't dying, but he's certainly a lot less effective.
He's probably not having a good day at that point. One would assume.
Can Nemesis
Especially-
even swim? Like, is he even or is he too heavy to swim? Like, would he just sink?
Actually, that's hilarious, because there's a really funny cutscene in Resident Evil 3 when he's like, after he gets hit by the bomb in the train station, he runs out, he's like, "Ooh," he's like on fire. He jumps in the water, and then within the same cutscene, like only a few moments, he evolves like fins like a fish in order to be able to swim.
Yeah.
So no, he can't swim on his own. He's a fucking rock, basically, but he can mutate in order to like be able to swim, and then he's a boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen a couple super chats mention Dead by Daylight. We got from Third Degree. And from
I didn't look
Cody.
at any Dead by Daylight stuff.
So Third Degree specifically mentioned, like, you had talked about Michael's powers in Jason vs. Michael from DBD in like a sidebar. I believe the main reason why we referenced that was just to like make sure that it was clear that we had looked at it, even if it doesn't necessarily like apply. But also, I'm pretty sure his powers in DBD are more so like related to what we actually see, because I know like the Jason video game, for example, takes some of the stuff that are just sort of implied in the movies, like his teleport, and just makes it like real, right? It's like, this is how it works from Jason's perspective. And I think Michael's was also kind of the same thing in DBD. I believe Nemesis gets powers in Dead by Daylight that have just never existed or something like that, or just aren't typical to him in the Resident Evil games.
I'm just scanning. They just look like, this is a very basic scanning. They just sort of look like modified versions of what he does in Resident Evil. Like, just like, what is the like, gamey version of this, and we're gonna sort of adapt him to that. So I don't see anything
like
necessarily.
The blight form, for example, is what Cody is asking about, and I don't think that actually comes in. Again, goes back to like, if you ever have a question about like, are you going to include this? Remember, the rule that Death Battle uses is when you look at the primary source, anything extra would only be like supplemental supporting material, and is allowable unless it contradicts the primary source. It's not that we just pick and choose random stuff, right? We're not just like, oh, we like that, so we're going to pick that other source. The whole idea of bringing in other sources is to just give us more to work with. Like, a book might describe a character doing something, but if it is shown in the movie, then like that gives us more to work with in that book. Like, that's the idea. We're not just gonna be like, well, if it isn't mentioned in the book and then it happens in the movie, but the book is our primary source, well, we're not gonna fucking use it from the movie because the book is the primary source. So that's the idea. So like, just to make sure that that's clear.
Supporting evidence. We're
Lily
litigating.
Mandergan and a couple other people have mentioned as well that in Resident Evil 3 there are ice like weapons, like ice grenades and things like that. So can potentially freeze and slow down Nemesis. Okay, so but at the end of the day, this really just comes down to who overpowers who, right, Aaron?
It's a who overpowers who. Touching on something Sam mentioned earlier, I would presume that this matchup would need to be set in Rapture, because Subject Delta as a character only works in Rapture with his little sister around. The whole plot of BioShock 2 is that he is trying to find and reunite with Eleanor, who is his bonded little sister. And if Eleanor dies, he will die. And at the end of spoiler alert for old game. At the end of BioShock 2, Subject Delta dies. Like, so if we are having him in the fight at all, Eleanor also lives, and he is also like basically required to be in Rapture. Therefore, it's where the fight would need to take place. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
I would want to have a BioShock fight take place in Rapture, right? Like that's
Yeah,
a
it
more
would be a
interesting
shame
setting
not
than like
to.
whatever the other character has.
Yeah.
And I do
Yeah.
love the idea that at one point the wall just bursts in and then they're just fighting on the ocean floor because that's just
Yeah.
fun and also
That's
sounds like
great.
it works out for Nemesis for at least a little while. He is able, like when you are in the like purely underwater levels, he is able to like jump around and still use his weapons and stuff. So it's not just withstanding pressure, but he still maintains that level of like agility and being able to use his
Yeah.
arsenal.
On that note, on the note
Yeah.
of rules, chat, you'll notice we don't have a rule for Death Battle about the environment, and that's because we don't really like it doesn't matter. Like we don't really take that into account for our verdicts. As far as the animation goes, we just go with whatever would be awesome.
Speaking
Yeah.
of
hell yeah, if this were a Death Battle, they would absolutely be fighting in Rapture.
Speaking
of course
of
they would.
more
It'd be so cool.
rules, Flashback Cartoon Hour said, so Skeletober doesn't need to be skeleton characters. I'll run the asset. I think that both these characters clearly do have skeletons. We would, if it was like a slime,
agree.
I don't think we would do it. They do need to have skeletons.
don't
They don't
know.
have to be.
Well, yeah,
Nemesis
extend the-
loses having a skeleton by the time he's a big goop monster. And Subject Delta skeleton may or may not be steel. It's a little unclear.
Yeah, it's still a skeleton though. I don't care what it's made
Yeah.
out of. It doesn't have to be made out of bones.
It's
as far
still
as I'm
skeleton.
concerned.
But yeah, there's
We've done Skeletober matchups. Skeletober matchups that
God.
aren't
Fuck.
skeletons, right?
generally with a skeletal
No.
character in it. But yeah, and you know this was also appropriately spooky for the spooky month and was
Yeah.
requested
Resident Evil's
from a
horror.
pitch call, so it felt quite appropriate for Skeletober. For
Henry,
us.
who appears to be a newer champion, welcome. I see that new badge next to you. Goes, what the fuck was that? Oh, this is Skeletober Celebration. Welcome to the month of Skeletober. This is just what we do.
It's a time-honored celebration.
Yeah, like I said before, October doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It is Skeletober. And
Yeah.
all of you,
like my-
as members, as champions of the Death Battle community, this is important for you all to fall under. Like, you can't, the word October has no meaning to you anymore.
Yeah.
It is
I just wanna-
Skeletober.
This is what you signed
when
soul
you
is up
became
in
a member of the
celebration
channel.
here.
Yeah.
I want to briefly
yeah.
detour for a second. This has nothing to do with the Death Battle fight or Death Battle in
good.
general, but look at how wide my bedroom is. Do you remember how fucking narrow my bedroom
Yeah,
was?
yeah.
For
We do.
the last few years of Death Battle cast, like,
Liam,
like
you're about to do a
both sides.
reality warping joke about how you warp.
no, not at all. I literally I like my new apartment and I like my room a lot and I like how wide it is. I like that I can't like touch both walls by stretching my arms out. Just like you can't see the other wall and there's like a lot more space. Like my entire bed is out of frame. It's great. I just like here. I'm gonna look how
It's-
wide this shit is. It's
Apartment
so
tour,
wide.
guys.
Yeah.
Apartment-
I
son
do
of
really-
I'm
apartment
just
tour.
so
Um,
happy.
Only
Okay, I'm
by
sorry.
New York standards,
Congratulations.
so.
I do
Well-
have to say this is one of the more New York things you've said to us recently.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Actually, that
how
is a
wide-
great segue. That's a great segue to our second sponsor for today's episode, which is Brooklyn Bedding,
Hey.
which would be great to put in your apartment or home or wherever you are. Brooklyn Bedding is actually a sponsor we wanted to work with for a long time because of our experience with them. You know, Death Battle's producer, Austin. You've seen him storytelling on our Blood on the Clock Tower games. Years ago, he did a ton of research on finding the best mattress. Classic Death Battle, right? And Brooklyn Bedding was his answer. Brooklyn Bedding gives you that high-end mattress experience without the sky-high price tag. And they have so many options. Like, just go to their website. There's just a bunch of options, like their Aurora Luxe. If you're constantly waking up in a sweat, this cooling mattress was made for you. It's legit cool to the touch. I know it's supposed to feel relaxing to lay down on a mattress, but like, truthfully, I didn't really know what that meant until I laid down on a cooling cover from Brooklyn Bedding, and it's like really nice. I don't know. Maybe I've been just sheltered from good mattresses all my life, I guess. I don't know. Because I thought my previous mattress was fine. But the moment I tried my new Sedona mattress, I realized just how wrong I'd been. And I'm being completely serious here. Like it's so different and so much better. Because look, you spend a third of your life on your bed, maybe more, which sounds kind of intimidating, but it is true. So I think it's important to have a mattress that actually helps you sleep. Now, Brooklyn Bedding knows that sleep isn't one size fits all. That's why they offer mattresses for every body, every sleep style, even in hard to find sizes. If you don't know what mattress is right for you, try their Brooklyn Bedding sleep quiz to find your perfect match in under 2 minutes. Even then, if you're hesitant to buy a mattress without trying it for yourself, Brooklyn Bedding has over 100 showrooms across the United States. There's probably one pretty close to you. So go to brooklynbedding.com and use my promo code DBC at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. That's brooklynbedding.com and promo code DBC for 30% off site-wide. Support our show and let them know that we sent you after checkout. That's brooklynbedding.com, promo code DBC. Seriously, you will not regret getting one of their mattresses.
I've slept on one for like a decade now. But also, I do think it's a good sponsor because they say things like, you spend a third of your life in a bed, and I think those are rookie numbers, and we can get those up. We should. Most of life's great activities can be done in a bed, watching TV, playing games, other
That's why
stuff
I said maybe
that they don't
more,
want.
right?
Yeah, maybe more. Yeah, and if I could get a desk, if I could find an arm to hold this desk so I could just swing it over my bed when it came to work time, I would be doing this show from the fucking bed.
Yo, next time Brooklyn Bedding sponsors us, bed Death Metal Cast, we're all streaming from our beds.
Hell yeah.
We're doing a virtual sleepover.
Yeah, I love it.
Great.
Go check them out. They're legitimately awesome. Okay, so we have so much more stuff to show. So I know we got to get to the vote pretty soon, but I know you guys are also here for a couple other juicy tidbits. So just a reminder, we are going to be doing our new ballot banter series starting tomorrow. That's from here on out for the next 12 to 15 weeks, it sounds. We will be doing a new ballot banter series every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time. That is live on the Death Metal channel. And there are so many matchups that you guys submitted in the ballot on the Discord. We're excited to get through them. And speaking of the Discord, we got a big event happening in the Discord right now. And just for the community at large, we are about to enter the next stage of Champions Island. Just a reminder, Champions Island is this massive community event that we're doing right now, which is basically it's going to culminate in a character based on your guys' votes that is guaranteed to get a future episode of a death battle. You will also be able to vote on who that character fights. This is we've done stuff like this before in the past, like Tournament of Champions, but this one is by far more ambitious because it is a full-on like reality TV show kind of thing. If you're familiar with like Total Drama Island or especially Survivor, that's kind of the idea. It's Survivor for Death Battle. So over the past few weeks, we have had a bunch of submissions for characters based on your own submissions. We narrowed it down to 32, and we are now down to 16. And there are 2 teams of 8. There's Team Wiz and Team Boomstick, and you're each on a different team. If you're not on a team right now, go to the Death Battle Discord. You can link your Discord to your YouTube account. If you're a member on the YouTube account, it'll automatically get you in the Discord, in the Death Battle Discord, and you can choose your team, Team Wiz or Team Boomstick, and participate in events. And the first event is coming up, and I believe we have a video explaining it all.
Yes, we do. Here we go.
Last time on Champions Island. 32 champions entered the draft pick of the century. 16 candidates were among the chosen few. Now the competition truly begins. This week on Champions Island, Team Wiz and Team Boomstick go head-to-head in Champion Trivia! Both teams will take to their team stage on Discord to answer 200 questions, one for each episode of Death Battle, competing for the highest collective score to secure their galaxy-brained victory. The winning team will secure this week's immunity from elimination, while the losing team must choose 4 of their champions to send to the dreaded vote. There, they'll have to make the hardest decision, sending 2 characters sailing off into shark-infested waters, forever eliminated from Champions Island. Join the Discord and get in on the fun. The trivia will begin Thursday, October 9th, 6 p.m. Central Time. The dreaded vote will start Friday, October 10th on YouTube for Champions only. More details will be available on the Discord and every week on Death Battle Cast, so stay tuned. Welcome one and all to Champions Island.
All right, here we go. We are kicking things off with the first competition, the first challenge, as it were, being this Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, a trivia challenge. So make sure you are in that Discord, you're in your teams. All the information will be there in addition to everything that you just saw in that video. But just keep an eye on once you join a team, there are like team channels, and one of them is like announcements. One of them is, a channel that you can all chat in, things like that. So just keep an eye on those, and you'll have all the information you need to be able to participate in the upcoming trivia challenge. And each week is going to be a completely different challenge. The mods have come up with some very creative ideas for challenges. Some of them get wild. Trivia is kind of tame compared to some of the stuff that's gonna happen. But it's like a reality show, right? You guys are participating in basically Death Battle Survivor, so get ready. It's gonna be fun. And then you will be able to basically get immunity for your team and your characters. And then it's gonna come down to an elimination vote that will remove characters for each week. And the elimination vote will be happening on the YouTube. Everything leading up to that is on the Discord, but the actual elimination vote will be occurring in the YouTube poll, in the YouTube
comments community.
They keep changing what it's called, chat, comments, whatever it's called.
Community tab.
Community tab. Yeah. Okay, excited to get to that. And I also know that there's one other thing to show. We are going to, let's go ahead and wrap up our arguments for Delta and Nemesis, because I feel like once we show this next thing, it's going to just dominate the conversation. So let's go ahead and wrap things up. All right. So final arguments for, we'll go back to subject Delta first. Anything you didn't talk about that you want to make sure is out there?
Sure. I mean, I think it really just comes down to Subject Delta has a very wide arsenal. We have a bunch of other plasmids we didn't get into. Fire, insect swarms, electricity, also can manipulate and hack various security elements around Rapture. So can stick a whole bunch of turrets and drones and things like that on Nemesis as well. Even has a plasmid that lets him summon Eleanor herself in her big sister form, which essentially I think is outside help, so it doesn't count, but it's still cool to mention. He is able to do a lot of self-healing through various tonic upgrades, as well as if his body is essentially too far gone, he can actually be just fully resuscitated with any Vita chamber that is present in Rapture. So ultimately, I think for him, it just comes down to he has a very wide variety of things that he can pull on, and underwater fight would be cool.
All right. Real quick, Johan has a super chat. Don't know if you answered my question before. Will the challenge happen at the same time as Galaxy Banter? No. So Galaxy Banter is tomorrow. So Galaxy Banter is always on Wednesday. This challenge, the first challenge of Champions Island, is going to be on Thursday at 6 p.m. Central. Just keep an eye on the Discord and the announcement channels in your team, and you'll have all the information you need. All right. Let's wrap things up for Nemesis. Final arguments.
I agree that Subject Delta, his big advantage is just versatility, but nothing in his arsenal is enough to overcome Nemesis's regeneration. Furthermore, nothing in his arsenal is powerful enough to really seriously hurt Nemesis. Like, the biggest weapon that he has is a rocket launcher, or sort of equivalent to that level of power. Nemesis can not only tank rocket launcher blasts and anti-tank missiles, he can catch them out of the air and throw them back at you. And that's in his base form before getting even more powerful. I think that he's just a lot stronger. He's a lot faster. He can dodge bullets and fight characters like Jill that can dodge bullets. And the Discord, I was just like scrolling through it. They shared me this feed that's in the manhwa version of Resident Evil 3, which is like it's a comic, where he and Birkin are fighting. William Birkin is the boss from Resident Evil 2, and they're fighting so fucking hard and so fast, like anime style, that they create a tornado that reaches into the sky at the level of like a helicopter flying by. And Nemesis obviously wins that, but I just thought that feat was fucking insane. I needed to mention it. I think even without that, though, he's still much stronger and can insta win with the T virus or Nemesis parasite.
Do Resident Evil characters do that ever, like in the actual games? Because that sounds like that's a break.
It's not the highest. It's not the highest strength feat that you have from the Resident Evil series. I was actually looking into it. Evelyn from Resident Evil 7 creates fucking earthquake.
Okay, sure.
So there is stuff. There is stuff at that level. Like building level is not unreasonable for Resident Evil characters.
Oh boy.
El Gigante from Resident Evil 4.
But creating a fucking tornado?
I know. And they're just like, ah!
But how is it, if he does that underwater, then it's just going to create
It's going to create a whirlpool.
Whirlpool. It's going to be sucked down to the bottom. All that water pressure is going to hit him, and Subject Delta is going to tank it and be fine. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Sam, what are you thinking? Do you think Nemesis takes it?
I do. I thought Nemesis could be frozen, and I know it wouldn't kill him, but I do believe he can be frozen solid and stopped temporarily, because I could have sworn in RE3 there were ice grenades.
There are, but they don't kill him. I didn't know that.
They freeze him, right? And then you can
they
run
do
away.
not permanently.
Down. I think
They slow him down. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
Oh yeah,
put him-
he
they don't put him out.
thaws. I get that. He thaws, but down in Rapture and with Delta's permanent freeze, I think maybe he could be frozen long enough for Delta to set up like, a interesting Rube Goldberg machine that will then destroy Nemesis. Also, isn't there like a gravity well black hole plasmid?
Technically.
It's not a black hole, but it is. It does.
Yeah,
like
it's like a gravity
suck
well.
Yeah. There is.
Yeah.
It's a cyclone trap.
Okay. I couldn't remember
that
if it
can
like
kind of,
just
like,
deleted splicers, like there was no more mass left after you gravitated them up. Because if so, I think you could maybe freeze Nemesis into it.
Fully eviscerates them into basically dust, but I don't think it's
Not erasing
matter
anyway.
warping.
I think Delta's got a chance here. Maybe it's just because I like
we
Rapture.
need to wrap things up because we also have our trailer for Blade vs.
yeah.
Buffy to get to. So I'm gonna start the poll. Go ahead and get your votes in. I'm kind of personally leaning towards Nemesis just from the power perspective, but I feel like Delta's probably going to have some sort of trick up his sleeve that could throw him off. All right, so you guys have waited long enough. I think it's time to show off a sneak peek of the next death battle that is going to be airing this weekend. Let's show this.
Go.
Okay.
It looks fantastic.
What was that? What was that he pulled out of his holster there? That was weird. What was that? I wonder
What's a
what that
weird
is.
euphemism? We're not showing that on screen. Okay, so Blade versus Buffy coming out this weekend, this Sunday. Holy shit!
I'm excited.
Ismahawk is crazy. It's so good. It's gonna be super awesome. So get ready for Blade versus Buffy this Sunday. We'll share that again at the end of cast when we wrap things up. We're gonna get to this, wrapping up this poll right now. Just a reminder, after Death Battles cast is over, we're gonna jump into Champion Cast. So if you're a member, stick around. You will automatically move over to Champion Cast, where we will be talking more about whatever the hell we want to talk about. Okay, wrapping up the poll in 3, 2, 1 with 65% of the vote. Oh, 64. You do a percentage. Nemesis takes the win. Congratulations to Liam. Ugh.
Okay.
All right.
then.
So Nemesis takes this right now. I am very curious if you guys would love to see this as an actual death battle. I think we've had multiple Nemesis matchup requests, right? I think that's one of the more frequent. We've done Nemesis on Death Cast before, right? So I wonder, is this the matchup for Nemesis? Because I think it's a pretty cool one, and of course, a fight in Rapture would be awesome. So let us know if this is a death battle you would like to see. I would love to explore both these characters in death battle for sure. But again, it is. I think it is time to wrap things up and show off that little teaser trailer one more time. So thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Death Battle Cast. Aaron, Liam, thank you for wrapping your characters.
Hey, happy to open up Skeletober. Our celebration.
And welcome
Skeletober.
all to Skeletober Celebration, first week of it.
Perfect. All right.
It's not
That's for
monkey.
Bananuary. That's Bananuary.
Yeah, you can't-
Yeah. Bananuary. We still
You
have to
gotta
figure
wait.
out which month is going to be Bananuary.
I can
February.
Whatever
January.
we want it to be.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
maybe we'll figure that out in
January.
Champion Cast.
Bananuary's January. I can't wait to make our bones or our bananas yearn for
Bananas.
Bananuary. Anyways, I'm
Yearn
gonna play
for
the
the
trailer.
bananas.
Never. We're not doing that. I'm playing the trailer. Goodbye.
Banones.